right, well, here's a few news articles of interest. Microsoft is now furthering their movement to just get rid of passwords entirely and instead use a phone authenticator app that'll do something like biometrics. So that's interesting. I wonder what happens if you lose your phone, but I guess there must be backup passwords or something. Anyway, that might be a good thing. In practice, passwords are generally a really weak spot. So a report came out from some kind of internal leaking out internal Facebook documents showing that 3 years ago they had an internal study that determined that they know that Instagram causes young girls to become suicidal and depressed and stuff because they get all upset about not being pretty enough. And despite the fact that they know that, they continue to aggressively market Instagram to small kids. And, I hear people compare them to cigarette companies. It's pretty much the same. There's so much money to be made from targeting kids. So now people are getting really mad about it. This whole year, everybody's been hating on Facebook, but it's not clear that anybody actually has the ability or fortitude to do anything to them. It remains to be seen whether they're going to actually do anything to stop them. We're going to be using OpenSea later to make NFTs. It is a platform used, and apparently one of the executives at NST used it for insider trading. What he did was he figured out which NFTs were going to be presented on the front page, and he bought them in advance, so that when they're shown on the front page, people will pay high prices for them, and he used this to basically perform insider trading to make money, which is, I think, the least of it. As we talked about, these almost all cryptocurrency projects are extremely crooked and full of all kinds of fraud and corruption, and this is one of the many examples of it. Coinbase. When I first saw this, I thought Coinbase is going to sell junk bonds, but then it occurred to me actually junk bonds are probably a much more reasonable thing to invest in than cryptocurrency. I mean, cryptocurrency is the ultimate junk bond. They're selling something that is of no intrinsic value at all. And all you have is the speculative bubble. That's all there is. Junk bonds are just bonds where the financial state of the company is not good enough to make it on an official bond offering, but there is really a company that makes a product that might make a profit. So it's actually less insanely risky intrinsically than cryptocurrency. So, let's see, finally knock out. Facebook is one thing. I still don't understand why people still TikTok. Well, sure, TikTok is a Chinese company. Well, I think the fact is most people just don't care who has their data. Yeah, was going to finally knock out that day in the life of a malware analyst video. Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Anyway, so Coinbase is going to sell junk bonds, and apparently it's extremely popular, and they're expanding the amount of it they sell. And in retrospect, I'd have to say, if you got your money in crypto, you'd probably be wiser to take it out of crypto and put it in junk bonds. That would probably be a step towards sanity. Senator Warren is going after Ethereum, but she's going after it for the network fees, and I'm very confused about network fees. I saw a tweet a week or two ago where a guy said the network fees for Ethereum reached $1,000, but then I looked at the network fees and they never went above $50 or $60. But there's some kind of network fee where you transfer from one kind of token to another that's different. So apparently there are different network fees here and there. Anyway, Senator Warren is upset about the unpredictable fees, which is certainly one of the risks of cryptocurrency. I would not put that at the largest one at all. The real risk is something she doesn't seem to quite get, which is exactly what happened to everybody in 1929. When it goes down and you try to sell, the network will not be able to handle the demand, so you'll be exactly in the position of all the people that thought they were rich trying to cash out of their bank account, and the bank runs out of money. All you can do is sit there and watch it helplessly while the price falls and you can't get your cash out. That's the fundamental problem. Anyway, yeah. So CryptoHack, they are going to come give us a guest lecture in October, and they have introduced courses. So this stuff is all extra credit, especially in this class if you want to do it. And now they have something called courses, which I don't even know what there are, lessons and stuff, elliptic curves. This is great stuff. So check them out. I'll check them out, and if you do any of this, it's obviously worth extra credit. It's another way to learn essentially the same stuff. Yeah, he's going to make a video describing Analyst, yeah, but that's not, the video's not up yet, right? Maybe it is. Let's take a look at this video. Oh, Didier Stevens. Oh, good. Oh, that's cool. That's probably a lot of fun. A day in the life of a malware analyst. Didier Stevens is a famous guy. Yeah, that looks like a good video. Let me make a note of that. This is probably for the discussion part of the class, right? Yeah, I understand. Okay, good. Right, okay. See, I'm not running the discussion part. As you can tell, I don't even always know what goes on there. But anyway, but that's good. That's definitely a good video to look at. All right. Anyway, so Crypto Hack, check it out. And so this one was pretty amazing. If you use Azure, I have a whole team of people helping me. And there's another person running the discussions. Anyway, so Azure, if you turn on some optional Azure features for your Linux servers, they will install an agent on the server, and the agent just listens with high privileges on the network, and it is so poorly designed that if you try to authenticate, if you try on any of these Azure features like log analytics or automation, it runs an agent that's listening, and when you log in the API to use the agent, you pass it an authentication token. But if you remove the token, it just authenticates you as root, which sounds insanely stupid, insanely wrong, and of course it's a terrible vulnerability, but this is not the first time this has happened in Linux. This happened to Solaris about 8 years ago. Solaris had an R login where you could log in from one Solaris server to another, and if you logged in as root, it would not check the password at all. You could just put anything in as the password and it would let you in. This kind of thing has happened quite a few times. Anyway, so this has now been patched, presumably. But apparently, if you're running a Linux server, it doesn't have any auto-update function. So a lot of people are going to continue to run vulnerable servers until they manually update it, which many of them will fail to notice. This one's interesting. Firefox, I've had this problem. When I use Firefox on my Windows machines, and it's really hard to get the default to go to Firefox instead of going to Internet Explorer. And in Windows 11, Microsoft has made it much, much more difficult again, which, by the way, it seems to me violates the lawsuit over Windows XP, which specifically said they had to stop doing this. They had to stop making it difficult to stop using Internet Explorer, but they've made it so you can't just choose Firefox once. You have to go choose again and again for each protocol, HTTP, HTTPS, and everything else. So Firefox has cut past it and just done something like a registry hack to let it in. And Microsoft, last time Firefox did that in other browsers, Microsoft would block it. So this is very much exactly what happened to Microsoft with Windows 98. They're trying to force you to use Microsoft software and not the alternatives, and that was considered an abuse of monopoly power, and they were punished for that over Windows 98. But apparently they're in the mood to try again, which I must say is probably a logical business decision, because the current right-wing majority on the Supreme Court probably means that they cannot be punished for that again. Anyway, a malware question. Have I looked into the iOS message no-click issue? Well, yeah, I mean, I patched my phone. I mean, there's always a bunch of these. 0 days are everywhere. It's one of those expensive 0-day attacks. If you're a nation state or somebody rich, you can buy these things. Yeah, the last crypto. Well, yeah, that's right. The last one is indeed hard. Yeah, that's the idea. It can be done, but it's hard. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so this one, people are arguing about whether it means anything. But 3 people in America, which I think were NSA people, then got a job in United Arab Emirates, giving them malware, which they would then use to attack people. And then they came and used it to attack Americans, including Obama's wife. And so now they're all being punished for crimes. And it turns out one of them is the ExpressVPN executive. So some people are saying they shouldn't trust the ExpressVPN company anymore. Other people are saying it really doesn't affect the company. I don't know. It's the latest scandal rattling around, and people are trying to decide what to do about it. This is straight from Jurassic Park. These guys want to bring back woolly mammoths. They want to take residual pieces of woolly mammoth and mix their genetics with nearby animals and create a new race of mammoths and let them loose. They want to greatly increase the number of mammoths wandering around in the snow. So people are arguing whether that's a good idea or not. California has left the red. The entire nation of America has been red. We've been the worst COVID nation on earth for a while. But 3 states have now emerged from the worst category down to just sort of pretty bad. And that's California is one of them. Yeah, mammoth burger. Yeah, that would be the logical consequence. You could get a mammoth burger. And so Warren also wants to break up Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo has been punished for quite a few abusive things. And Elizabeth Warren wants to break them up too. It's not clear if she's going to actually be able to break up anything, but she certainly wants to. Putin's staff got COVID. Putin is now isolating. It's not clear whether Putin ever got the vaccine. He claimed to, but he kept it secret. And I'm pretty sure he got the Russian vaccine, which I think is pretty terrible. It doesn't work, like the Chinese one. They were the first. Maybe it's. I'm not sure I've got that right. I know the Chinese one is very bad, like 30% effectiveness. The Russians came out with theirs first by just skipping the last stage of testing. It didn't turn out to be terribly dangerous, but I think it turned out not to be very effective. Anyway, on it goes. And this one's, of course, all over all the news now. Bob Woodward's latest book with the top general, who is currently still a top general, Milley, said that when Trump started claiming that he didn't lose the election, and after he had the violent insurrection on January 6th, he was so afraid that Trump would start a war in order to stay in power, that he secretly contacted a top Chinese general and said, I will prevent them from attacking China, and I will give you a back channel warning if Trump wants to attack China. And so now Trump is saying that's high treason. Here he is like secretly consorting with the enemy, when if I wanted to attack China, I was the president, I had the right to attack China, and it certainly sounds like Trump is right. But this is what happens when you have a really, really unpopular president. And I'm watching, this is what happened before the first Civil War. In the 1850s, 1860s, we were so divided that we were really not on board with supporting the president. And so some people are so angry at the president, they will subvert what he does and feel like they're doing the right thing. And other people will patriotically follow the president, saying he's really the president. And they both groups are convinced they're doing the right thing. This is a really unhealthy, divided state of a nation. Because, certainly, either Trump was committing treason by trying to stay in office after he lost the election, or the general was committing treason by consorting with the enemy and concealing this from Trump. This is just not what's supposed to be happening at the top of our government, where people are like totally contradicting each other's actions. They ought to decide who's in charge and then all unite behind whoever's in charge, and that is totally not happening, and this is unhealthy to our nation. It makes us vulnerable. Anyway, so that's the news stuff.